New Zealand has been called one of the most beautiful lands on Earth. In both the North and South Islands, you can find almost every type of terrain imaginable. You'll go from glaciers to rainforest, fjord to farmland, and you can do it all by rail.
It is a country that is perhaps even more down under than the land down under, New Zealand.
It is a country that is not overrun by tourists. It's a country that a lot of people haven't been to because of the remoteness. We get people who come on the tours and they think that people still walk around in grass skirts. They have some pretty far-fetched ideas about what we're about, and I think that comes from the fact that there are so few people who've been here, and it's magnificent. Yeah, the locals are genuinely interested in finding out about tourists and tourism, and it's great.
The Australian Pacific Tour Group.
And to see it slowly and allow it all to unfold before you, step aboard a train.
It's a relaxing way to see the countryside. And the railway lines follow totally different from the main roads, so you're seeing different countryside.
I just like trains. I like the movement of trains and the noise of trains.
The Geyserland is just one of many trains crisscrossing this unique land. It heads out of Auckland, bound for Rotorua, a place that has that not quite finished feel to it.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. Rotorua, right throughout that volcanic belt. I'm in an area that's part of the Pacific Rim of Fire. I mean, 2/3 of the world's active volcanoes come from that area, and we're right straddling the middle of that zone. So you're getting the boiling mud pools, you're getting geysers, you're getting crazy things happening with volcanic activity, and related to that as well, earthquakes. So they call this country the Shaky Isles, and I guess it creates a pretty dynamic place.
The Overlander train moves you through country that changes as you gaze out the windows. New Zealand is like that, always different through the glass. It's a country that almost seems to be playing tricks on you, teasing you into thinking you've got it figured out, and then changing again.
Then within the short spaces of time, within a 1 hour period, you've gone from an extremely dry part of the country to one that's unbelievably wet. So, yeah, there's a great variety within kind of a short time frame. So it keeps it interesting for people as they move around.
Inside, things are civilized, and service, although not meant to be fancy, is a priority.
What did I ask for?
So far we have a shepherd's pie, toast sandwich, the muffin.
Mm-hmm.
All the trains have buffet car snack bars, and you can eat, drink. You've got toilets in the carriages, so it's a great way to travel rather than by bus.
The Overlander lets you off near Tongariro National Park. It's a rocky expanse of snow-capped peaks and infinite views. Napier is a gem of Art Deco close by the coast. It's preserved a feel of another time, just another angle of this varied lands. While the insides of trains like the Bay Express leaving Napier for Wellington look pretty much the same, it's what's outside that strikes the traveler as special. New Zealand is indeed a small country, but to see its many facets, it takes all the trains this country has to offer, and motor coaches, and even boats. It's a ferry that bridges the gap from Wellington to Picton. Again, New Zealand changes as you inhale the salt breezes. Once in Picton, it's on to the Transcoastal, truly a train that lives up to its name. There are planes that could cart you from one spot to another, and some used to take that option.
Well, I used to, but now I think you have to take time and look at what's around you.
Well, in flying, you're not going to see a great deal, because at this speed, you're able to take in everything, the breathtaking scenery. It's a bit different looking from something from 20,000 feet out, just 3 feet off the ground here. And you're able to see every single thing, and you're able to appreciate what you're seeing more.
Taking your time here has some wonderful payoffs.
It's such a scenic journey, and it beats driving.
Well, there's so many sheep and cattle, and deer, and all the new little born lambs, which are just lovely, and the greenery is the thing. the thing I like, because I was brought up in the red dust of central Australia, and the greenery is just beautiful.
One of the highlights of any train excursion through New Zealand is the Transalpine.
You start off in Christchurch in the morning, and you travel up across the Canterbury Plains, which is an area it's been underwater several times over millions of years in evolution. So it's a very flat area, the largest flat land in the country. Crop farming, sheep farming, but very, very dry and fairly barren. And then once you get up to the mountains, you start winding your way through some more steep terrain up towards the Southern Alps, and then of course you're away from the wet part, away from the dry part, and up into snow-capped peaks. And you get some of those snow-capped peaks right throughout the summer as well. Winding your way down the other side, you've left what is essentially a very dry part of the country, getting into an exceptionally wet part. So it's a great big braided wide riverbeds and clear fresh water.
When the snow's down, it looks just that much more spectacular. And some people have never seen snow before, so they come along, they see the mountain ranges covered in snow, and they just think it's marvelous. It's a fantastic journey.
And they're right. It is a fantastic journey. Ranges of mountaintops and valleys roll away to the horizon as you roll along through the country.
I would say it is a journey which gets you really close to the mountains on a train, and that for a lot of people is a real highlight.
And from the Transalpine, it's an alpine coach ride to this, another serious highlight of New Zealand, Milford Sound.
Well, this region here, Milford, is unbelievable. It's a region which has been carved out by glaciers about 2 million odd years ago. It's a region which we're seeing only a half of what is there. You've got an incredible dense rainforest around us, literally growing on the sides of very, very steep cliffs. An amazing abundance of different types of wildlife above the sea. And then down underneath us, we've got 1,000 feet down to the ocean floor. Things like some of the oldest animal species in the world, the brachiopods, and a good population of them. We've got black corals, which are very rare coral species, and one of the largest single populations of those found in the world is found here in Milford, so pretty amazing place.
And it drops straight off the side of Mitre Peak, just under 100 metres or just over 300
So, well, it's so
feet.
dynamic. Every time you go there, it's
Side.
different. I mean, I've been into Milford Sound, goodness, dozens of times, and every time I go in, it's different. You've got different lights, you've got different weather conditions. Some days you go in there, it's bright and sunny, and you can see the tops of mountains 5,000 feet above you. Other times you go in there and it's raining, and like we saw, waterfalls by the hundreds. But every day is different, and every part of the season is different too. So it's a pretty awe-inspiring place. Yeah.
It is another kind of awe that's inspired in Queenstown, the radical kind. Queenstown is a self-proclaimed extreme sport capital of the world. It was here that a couple of guys dreamt up the idea of leaping off tall things like bridges while attached to thick rubber bands, bungees. Now, the area is a kind of mecca for adrenaline junkies. And it's on the list of a lot of rail fans as well. This is the home of the Kingston Flyer.
I think it's just the permanence of the thing. I mean, it's something that doesn't change very much. We live in a very fast-changing world, and somehow steam trains always seem to be part of our past, which is still here. It's lasting thing, yeah.
If you spend any time at all riding the rails of New Zealand, you can't help but be struck by how much love there is for the place and for these trains. It's a feeling that the locals want you to take with you, along with your souvenirs and memories.